Everyone look at my shoes, okay? Please. Do me the justice of looking at my shoes before the video starts. Hello everyone, welcome back to my studio. Today, I thought I would share with you my favorite digital brushes because I have shared them before in other videos. However, I think it's a bit presumptuous to assume that everyone's gonna watch every single video of mine for every single minute of the entire video and somehow stumble across the nuggets that I share there without putting it in the title or tagging it or anything like that. It's the treasures for the ones that are the true people that watch all the time. I do get questions all the time about the digital brushes that I use whenever I share work that's created digitally. And it would be nice to just be like, here you go. Everything I can think of to tell you about this stuff. We're going to go through the digital brushes I've purchased. We're going to go through the digital brushes I love, demos. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you want to use these brushes, what you're looking for, and how to decide which one should be your favorite. But then I also want to talk about how important tools are, because a lot of people want to know a lot of things about the materials, but really I do think it's like the person that makes the work. You can use the worst brush ever and still make incredible work. And then any advice that I have for people beginning. Not that all of you will be beginning, but it always helps to brush up on foundations, I feel. Without further ado, let's start because I've been speaking for far too long. But did you look at my shoes? Can you see them? Aren't they cool? Okay, so this is Procreate. I'll go through the brushes that I like on Fresco in a second. But before I do this, I want to tell you what you need to do. When you're starting out, you need to go through every single brush that's in your brush library, even if you don't like the look of it. I don't think I like the look of these painting brushes because I don't really like that much fake painting texture, although this is honestly okay. You see, I didn't do this. I'm a hypocrite. You want to basically go through and you want to experiment with how hard and soft things can get. You want to do the side. That's dry brushing. And you want to do this with every single brush so that you get an idea of what each one does, and you can then accurately choose what's your favorite. You end up with a page that is full of this stuff, but it's really, really important. And when you like something, what I would do is either just take notes somewhere, write it down somewhere, or I duplicate it here and then drag it into another folder that you have easy access to it. For me personally, I have like 3 brushes that I use. And so I don't really need to remember a lot of brushes, but you're just going to go through and all of these tools will be used for different things. And some of them you'll love and some of them you'll hate, but just pull through. And for as long as you can handle it, go through all of these brushes. Do the full thing first, see if you like it. If you don't like any of them, you can always ask artists what they use. Like sometimes they won't respond, that's fine, like each to their own. For me, like the Retro Max Packs, I saw other people using it. I was like, fine, I'll try it. And then honestly, it's really nice. They're really, really good. You're going to want to dedicate a lot of time to trying the brushes. It's going to be the foundation of your work. It's going to change the way your work looks. It's going to change your drawing experience. Now to my favorite brushes. In the original Procreate, I love the 6B. I love anything that gives me like a variance in line. I love a soft pencil in real life, and so I kind of was looking for something similar. And if you're a traditional artist, go with what you use in real life, because when people design brushes for digital art, and especially when they're named after traditional mediums, they're referencing that medium. You're going to get the look that you're after. You're going to get the way that it moves on the screen. I love the 6B. That's just in the basic set. Oh, I used to love Evolve. I mean, I still like it. I like the scratchy nature that it has, you know? It doesn't have a lot of variation, that's the thing. I love Monoline. These ones are similar. I think I prefer Monoline now to Evolve because when I want something scratchy, I'll go with like a traditional media. The last one I like in just what you get when you download it is the noise brush. I don't think I'll be able to really write with this. Oh, I can. I never use it this small. I like this for like adding texture. I just think it's like a nice texture. I like creating gradients with it, like, you know what I mean? Last but not least, the stuff I like from the Retro Max Pack. I love this gesture sketch. This one's a lot like the 6B pencil. I used it recently in a video and people really, really were wondering what it was. So that's kind of what inspired this video. The only thing is it's not as dark as the 6B, and I love how dark the 6B is. But it's nice for like, maybe I would use this as like almost like how you would use construction lines. It also doesn't have as much line variance. I do think the 6B is better than the gesture brush. And then the last one I love is the photocopy sketch. I love this. I think what I look for is I look for an analog feel, something that is convincing. Like for example, really scratchy like this, really gestural. It honestly could be the case that I drew this in ink and then I scanned it. I will always reference traditional media in my work because I just love analog. I love film. I love traditional media. And when I work digitally, I want it to reference like the charm that traditional has, you know what I mean? There's stuff I like and stuff that I will experiment with, but really these are the ones that I use. I basically will use 1 or 2 brushes for each piece. I don't really mix them that much. That's just how I am. So Fresco is what I use when I'm doing work that requires me to make vector projects. I'm really here for the vector brushes, and I really just use a basic brush. So if I wanted to do like text, I would hand create the shakiness, because I just think it's like very late peanuts, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense to you? The only thing about going in between apps is they're slightly different gestures and slightly different ways of working, so it can be quite jarring jumping between the two, but I use them for very different things. When people ask me what app I use, it really just depends on what the work I'm doing is. If it's something like designing a typeface or creating something that needs to be printed very big or something that's very clean, I will use Fresco. If it's something like fun, like a sketch or something that has very little consequence, I'll use Procreate. Or if it's something that's small enough, like a picture book, I can use Procreate for doing digital detailing too. Personally, I feel like the UX for illustrators is better on Procreate. However, it really just depends on what you like. But I do like that I can send this straight to Illustrator when I need to, which I do. I don't know why I'm writing rock. I think I was writing rocket. Anyway, you can create that shakiness, like, and you can zoom it in forever. Do you know what I mean? I love that. Now, if I wanted to use an actual, I don't think I would use this for sketching with raster brushes, but they do have some good ones because Carl T. Webster designed them. They're actually really good. The other one I liked was just the basic. This is Toothy Pencil. I think that Carl T. Webster is just such a good brush designer. Oh, that's beautiful. I think he also did work traditionally too. Kohl pencil. Where's the light brushes? These are to die for. You've seen this before if you've seen any other videos of mine, but look how this moves. It moves. Oh my God, it activates. That's so nice. It's just really incredible. I'm honestly always astounded by this. Really pretty. Wow. It's like magic. Those are the brushes I like. Decide what you like and take a good chunk. I'm talking, you're not starting today. You're only trying brushes in one day. Be patient, because you're not going to get it straight away, and that's fine. I didn't get it straight away, that's for sure. But it's just easy when you compartmentalize each step. So when you've figured out your favorite brushes and you've practiced for a while, I'm talking, you've created a few pieces that you like. You might want to consider editing your brushes. I like to change the stabilization, put the streamline up, just so that when I'm doing my initial sketches, it's very geometric, because then I'll go back and I'll use like a non-stabilized brush and F it up a little bit. But at the start, it's really nice to create these geometric, clean lines, and then bring down the opacity, go to the next one, bring down the streamline, and just be scratchy. I do think it's important to edit brushes, and like you can duplicate them, fully edit them, so you're not ruining the original until you find what you like. But I think it's nice because then, like, unless you're making your own brushes, many people have access to the same tools, and sometimes the same tools can make work look the same, especially if you haven't figured it out yet, or you're referencing someone else's work or style. Think of these things as you're creating something that's specific to you. And if you're at least tweaking the brushes, I think you get a little bit of that back, and also mainly just so that you're working in the ways that you want. Now I want to talk about whether like the tools are important. I don't think the tools are that important. I think I could take a brush that I don't like and make something that I do like. Tools are a preference, but I do think the tool does not make the illustrator, if that makes sense. I feel like I could take the worst pencil ever in my studio and still make something that I like because I've had the practice. However, I do understand like using tools that work well is really good for when you're starting, because it makes the process of learning so much new stuff more painless, if that makes sense. I feel like starting out is really stressful, but at a certain point you should settle on the tools that you love and just like focus on the progress of your practice, because that's going to be what sets you apart, not the tools that you like. You know what I mean? Just a thought, whether or not it's true or not. I'd love to know what you guys think. Like, how important are tools? I reckon tools are like 10 to 15% important, and the other bit is just like you as a creative developing your style, developing your sense of composition, developing your confidence as a creative. I do feel like I could pick up any material and kind of do something with it, and I think that comes from having worked in my style for so long and like know how things should look and the shapes that should be used. Is it going to be groundbreaking? Probably not, but I think a lot of people want to ask about the tools, and I think that's fine. Like, I do that too, but I think it's not going to make or break your work if you have the same tools as other people. It's going to make or break your work the more you understand the way you see the world and the more you understand how to express that. Don't get too stressed about using the best gear, the stuff that the people you like use. Don't get stressed about that. Like, if you're still not understanding like who you are as a creative, I would go straight back to like pencil and paper, basic forms, composition, like shapes that you'll use. What do things default to when they go from like what you see to what you create with your hands? Don't stress too much on digital. I think it get really easy to get to the point with digital that you're like pushing pixels around, and that's when it gets really unproductive, because you're just like, all you're really doing is like freaking yourself out at that point, and you're not really like creating fertile grounds for creativity, if you know what I mean. La, la, la. No expert, but those are just my thoughts, you know? I feel like if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm so happy to share. Just so you know, I use the 12.9 third generation iPad Pro. My advice to you is try and have fun. Don't be too serious. And don't believe that it's gonna sorry, this is funny. Don't believe that it's gonna replicate your traditional work exactly, and don't believe that you have to try and do that as well. It got a lot easier for me to merge my traditional work and my digital work together, not trying to achieve each other with the other. And my digital work is never going to be as charming as traditional work can be. But if I find a middle ground and make the style of the traditional work more like my digital work, more simplified and stuff like that, which I have, and make the way that I work digitally more like my traditional, which is less erasing, looser grip, painterly, then maybe it will have some of that charm that each other have. I'm so grateful to be able to use both in a way that I can still create things and have the clarity now of like, each one is not meant to be the other. They're not replacements for each other. They're just different. And the times I use them are different. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it just gave you a bit of pep. And if you're struggling learning stuff, it's okay. I really struggled as well. I wasn't really doing any research into like what I should be expecting or what brushes to use. So you're already a step ahead of me. And this is me, like, not this. Can I show you something that's good, please? This is something I did the other day, which I really liked. It probably took about 30 minutes and I just used one brush. I think I used Gesture Brush. Here's what I did. I basically went from scratch and I was just like wanting to honestly get something out. Like, I just want to express something. I hadn't made something for a while that was outside of like commercial work, and it was fun. It was like playing with layers, playing with different like adjustment layer settings, really bold small brushes, and then really, really large gestural strokes. And yeah, I just feel really happy with it. So please know I can do other things. Like, the stuff I did, this was just an example. The stuff I did in this should be what you do when you first get your hands on an app, because it can be so overwhelming, and without understanding all the tools, you're discovering things trickling through. And I think it's better to be like, compartmentalize each step, like find the brushes, test the brushes, make an image with just one brush, make an image with just another brush, like do the same image. Like, it's okay if you draw the same subjects again and again. That's how you get to know your mediums. Hello, it's a bit crooked. I'm so sorry. If you have any questions, please let me know. I would love to answer them. And I do try and be very active in my comments. Sometimes I can't if I'm overwhelmed in life. However, if I have time, I will get around to them, I promise, especially if they're questions. If you have any comments, let me know. If you have any future art advice for people looking that may be less experienced than you, put it in the comments. I would love to read it myself. Maybe I'll learn a thing or two, you know. I have my little sponsor card coming up, so watch if you will. There's some website tips in there. Good luck with your digital art journeys. You don't require luck, but I'm wishing you well, because it can be hard. I'm back with another website tip, and that is to be secretive. What I mean by that is make use of secret pages to create secret custom portfolios. If you work on lots of types of creative projects like me, you want to tailor make a portfolio for when you reach out to clients or pitch for projects to give yourself the best shot at landing the job. One way you can do this is by duplicating your general portfolio, then delete and add things that make sense for the people who are going to see it. 10 pieces is a great number to get your work across without overwhelming the person looking. And if you don't have 10 pieces to make up a custom portfolio, this might be a little spotlight to show you where your portfolio might need more work. Next year will be my 10-year anniversary of using Squarespace to design and run my website. It seriously makes it so easy that anything I've ever wanted to try is just a bit of thinking, some typing, and some images. I love it. If you've never tried Squarespace before, use furrylittlepeach for a discount. That's it. Bye.